Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to Warships for a bit of a Saturday highlight versus doing the Friday highlight. We kind of flipped things around this week with the Tier 10 American Light Cruiser, the Worcester. So, I have four different battles with specific highlights I want to show you here. And talking about the ship, especially as time goes on in 2024, what does that mean for the ship in World of Warships besides a lot of overmatched submarines and more. So, I'm going to just talk more about the battle play and the positioning, and as that happens, we'll talk about the ship's strengths and weaknesses. So here, we're waiting for the buff. This is an arms race and randoms battle. We're waiting for the buff, and so we've been able to pick it up, and I'm kind of like, wait, there was a battleship over there to the 4-5 line. Is he aiming at me? You know, what's going on there? So I decide to keep a watchful eye to my right, and we go dark. So we've broken contact. And I'm going to just chill out here. Typically, I think what this map is called Islands of Ice. Just wanting to wait here and just see what happens. And the Brindisi gets wrecked because he got a little too close, and his smoke did not save him at all with his smoke fire penalty. So I see my Brindisi die. And now I'm watching my battleship, Iowa, charge in. So I'm kind of like, okay, look at that. And then I think I take the mouse cursor over the minimap. There's two cruisers there, and then there's 3 enemy ships back along the C line. And then there's a destroyer somewhere over here on the E line. So I'm like, well, crap, I'm going to have to start kiting because I'm going to be the last that's surface ship really spotted here once the Iowa dies. So I step out, we get detected. This is one of the things that works well with the Worcester, is when you're with, you know, starting off, well, I say starting off, when you're working on these key objective areas. I was moving up to support destroyers, and we catch the Kunming off guard. So we had a big alpha strike there with like 6,500 in that opening salvo. So we're focusing him, and then you're going to start watching my potential damage goes up. Now, Iowa's just died. Now watch our priority target starts increasing. We were at 2, we were at 3, then there's 4. We get him killed, and I'm pretty sure we hit 5. Yeah, this is the 5. And so that basically means we probably should be looking to disengage. So we start accelerating. Here's you're going to see example. So again, focus potential damage number. It's right beneath the damage. So you see we're just over 250,000. Now that's over 330,000. There's a double fire set. I'm just going to let it tick for the time being. But just see how we use our WSAD skills. You know, we're going to be rocking the ship back and forth. You know, there's several salvos we've completely avoided, as now we're over 600,000. Enemy team is still focusing us between the Iowa Zal and the Marseille. I'm not pronouncing the name of that ship exactly. And yeah, so now it's over 700,000. So we're going to back off a little bit, and I'm going to tell my teammates that the Iowa DCP. Because you see, I actually, if you're looking at the minimap, we have 2 other battleships coming this way on the 3-4 line back on the GH. So I'm falling back to be able to work with them a bit more. When you're a cruiser, you really want to play off your team. And when your team, like the Brindisi and Iowa just died, I don't have anyone to play off of. So part of the role of having battleship players, I've talked about this, is tanking for your team in the Intermediate Player Guide series, is I need them to also tank some damage for me. They're more, you know, better armor schemed, their survivability is better, thicker armor, you know, the works, the etc., right? So I need them to be able to take a little bit of pressure off of me. And I also have to be mindful of the Wisconsin's like stupid, broken, insane accuracy with his 406s that we could easily get wrecked if I don't pay attention to the Wisconsin. So that's why I've been backing off. And you see the Almonte Ocrando. He's also coming up with his 12, 2, and 3mm guns. So we're just going to keep kiting away, and then I would get our heal off. And then here shortly I'm going to say, yeah, it's time for us to go ahead and probably go dark. We're paying attention to incoming fire. The biggest thing with the light cruiser life, especially something like the Worcester, is being able to actively look out. So some people use the shift key. I like using the free look, which is the right mouse key. So I can get a bigger picture of what's happening, and I can keep locked on to whatever ship I'm firing upon, as we've already broken over 1.1 million potential damage now. And I'm thinking this Iowa is going to ground. He just went outside of our max firing range. So I'm going to start backing up here. Our max firing range, technically it's 16.71 kilometers. So I don't have to see him to know he grounded and he's right there. And I think what ends up happening is he gets a heal off here. So I'm not able to bring him down as I hoped, because last I saw him he was going quite close, and I think he just shot the water there. So he's got a heal off. So now we have the other 3 ships that are pushing in. We see the Wisconsin salvo. We've already begun to re-accelerate. Battleship players saying, hey, get back. I concur. So that's exactly what's going to happen. Look how accurate that Wisconsin salvo was, just exactly where we were sitting. Like, that would have been very bad for us. So this game, the enemy team just ends up falling apart. But we've ended with, this battle ends with like over 1.5 million potential damage. So we'll go to the next battle, which is, I don't even remember the name of this map right now off the top of my head. Is it the Atlantic? Yeah, I don't remember. Anyhow, one of the things I like to do is, we're trying to go in here, support our submarine, support our destroyer player, but we're also waiting to see what do they uncover. We don't want to be charging in and get completely caught off guard. They uncover the enemy U-4501, which is an absolute pain in this battle. Yeah, he lives all the way through the game, so he's just a pain down here at the south end of this cap the whole time. So we tried to get some shots on him, but we were unlucky. But we're trying to use our A to help with the depth charge airstrikes coming from the enemy team, but that's not helping so well. I was trying to activate the defensive A fire, and I fat finger the radar, so that was a total mistake by me. So there was no point of me using the radar here. That was just a fat fingering. So with the Stalingrad, this is one of the strengths / weaknesses, depending on how you look at it, with the Worcester, is with her 152 millimeter guns, they have a high shell arc. So that's for us. I like that on that. Every ship's not the same. If I want more flatter shell arcs, perhaps on a cruiser, I'll look more at taking like Des Moines or something like Congress, Alaska, something like that as an example. But with having these higher shell arcs, mean we can lob shells over islands. So enemy ships who think they're safe, especially if you're a bit further off, we can still effectively land fire on them. And that's one of the things we're going to cause a lot of havoc on this Stalingrad as we take a Citadel there. And I thought we were quite angled enough to GK's, possibly if he's taking the 420 millimeter guns. So I'm looking in here and I'm like, wait, how did he hit me? And I think he just overmatched the armor when he came in on the side, which is 25 millimeter, or we have a 30 millimeter deck, and then he just got right down into our Citadel. So even if you think you're angled enough, sometimes you will be punished in the Worcester. Sorry. So here we go with seeing a pretty good example of the lobbing the shells over the island with these higher shell arcs. So it works out for us in this sense. We're going to be fishing for him a lot here, so we're not going to have too many accurate salvos, so to speak. But I'm trying to put a lot of pressure on him because you see our battleships on the one line are pushing down further into the cap. So I need to do whatever I can, especially if I get any fires set. We just set 2 there, and I think he DCP'd them, if I remember right. One of the weaknesses of Stalingrad is it gets the fire duration is the same as a battleship, so it ticks for the full time versus other cruisers normally have they don't tick as for long. So we want to overwhelm his damage control party. We want to overwhelm his repair parties to help our battleships, and I think our is it destroyer there to the south still, so that they can feel that they can effectively move up. And despite that, Stalingrad is going to be really difficult. He's really smart because he backs up to the higher point of the island. And I talked yesterday, and I want to talk about it again. It'll happen later in the game. But you never really want to sit still in a cruiser. You want to constantly be moving forward, reverse, even if you're in a stationary position like this Stalingrad along an island, because he's making it really difficult, as he does take out the Z-42 here. I don't know if he had a radar handy or what exactly, but so this, we're 3 down 3 ships for now. We just take out the enemy Schlieffen, and I'm going to push up. So part of this is recognizing that if my battleships are pushing, like we are here in this flank, then I really need to be moving with them and supporting them. So I kind of hung back there to be able to lob the shells more effectively over the island onto Stalingrad. They also have the submarine threat. I want to be able to come down here and help to see if I can't be any of assistance to this our battleships. And we'll end up after it's kind of making these decisions once you become more skilled in the game, is you're thinking, okay, once the Stalingrad's dead, what are we doing next? Or if I make this position, what's the next 2 or 3 things that I'm looking to do in this given situation? So I'm not able to deal anything more damage with Stalingrad, unfortunately. So I decide that I'm going to start opening up on the GK. They're getting really close to killing Stalingrad, but he's tanky. But I want to see if I can't pull any attention from the GK onto me as a light cruiser. He's pretty determined to kill the enemy GK, or our friendly GK there, because he's quite low. But I want to do whatever I can to be able to kind of present myself as this low-hanging fruit for the GK to take a salvo or 2 off on. We still have 3 repair parties. I'm being mindful that his rear turrets don't have as great as firing angles. So he'll probably use those on us, and then maybe those front turrets on our friendly battleship Slava as an example. At the same time, we're having to exercise a lot of map awareness. So here we see the ping on the surface. We drop both depth charge airstrikes. He's still firing the rear turrets at us. And I have to look up to the north by B to see if there's anyone who might be cheeky to get a cross map salvo off. So I'm trying to take in information up to the north because I'm just being aware. But I see that we're only detected by, or we only have 1 aiming at us. So if I see it bloom up to 2, then I know someone up to the north is going to be taking shots at me. That hasn't happened quite yet for the meantime. However, with having the IFHE, meaning we're not pinning just 30mm, but we're able to pin 37mm, we can pin more, where a lot of the higher tier battleships have that 32mm armor, right? So I go ahead and use the radar because it felt like I was pretty sure that the sub was within our depth charge airstrike range, and within the radar range. So we do get a flood and a fire on him, and the GK gets tired of firing at us, and he starts opening back up on the Slava and try to take him down. So the goal here is, as soon as we take down the enemy GK, we will push onto ACAP, which is going to happen here shortly, because we want to stop the points bleed, because we have quite the points difference between our team and their team. To see if we can't still salvage this game. So now, even though the GK is really close to dying there, our 1 salvo did land. I decided to go ahead and switch off onto the destroyer, or submarine, excuse me, because we're really trying to get rid of him here. So here I'm communicating with the team. Hey, I'm going to go onto A. The sub has us detected. He's fired torpedoes at us. He's not homing them. You can see we've lost more ships. It's 100 to 800 points, so we had to stop the points bleeding. So unfortunately, our team is completely collapsed to the north. So that sucks. And as our radar is going to come off cooldown, we're detected. The submarine is the only thing within our spotting, within our concealment range, and nothing. And that's because he is, there he is. He was outside. Since he's periscope depth, we won't spot him as easily. We have to be even closer as he's going to dive there. So it just makes it really frustrating. And then our hydro has 30 seconds left, as I'm hoping it will last long enough to pick him up again. And I'm letting pinging about that sub to the north. Maybe we can reset him before he gets B, but he's actually really close to flipping Bravo. We slow down, we pick up A, using our A to help our Slava here with a defensive AA, and the sub is just going to run away and we're never going to see him again, even though we do get a couple more lucky depth charge airstrikes. So not enough time, too much of a points bleed to make a big difference about what's happening here. So here we're going to go into another battle, and this is just another example of just kind of playing off our team, especially as we start. The biggest thing for a cruiser player is try not to be the first thing detected on your flank by the enemy team, because then, most of the battleship's cruisers, they're all loaded up, some with AP, ready to dev strike you. So you want to be mindful. So we're filling things out right now. Our Shimakaze player, he's like, for now, he's not going really any deeper. Here you see Shimakaze dump all 3 of his racks, and the Yadi, it's a new Japanese cruiser in testing. I think I saw one almost every battle. He dumps all of his 3 racks as well. And we're kind of seeing what's going to happen to this Montana here. Now, it'd be maybe enticing to start opening up on this Montana, which we can't anyhow because the island's in the way. But we don't want to startle him and cause him to turn away early on. So sometimes try to see what your teammates are doing so you don't wreck their plans with this torpedo action. This Montana is unfortunately being the unhappy, unfortunate receiver of. So now we've been detected by the planes from the enemy. I think it's the CV here. Yeah, the Essex. So we're going to be seeing him a lot. I'm detected by 3, so I'm just chilling right now. And then I realize it's the McGarry who's spotting us. He's just outside our radar range for now. But at this point, the Shimakaze decides to smoke up, which ruins the spotting. But I understand he's a Shimakaze, he's not a gunboat. So we're going to go ahead and step out here. The Yamagiri is smoking up, so there's a good chance that we could just go completely dark here, which we do for the time being. And we can put pressure on as we also pop the Hydro to take out this enemy destroyer early on. So this is one of those examples of just we're kind of floating around on our flank or positioning. And as soon as an opportunity opens, if we can take out the enemy destroyer, that will help our team much better. So you saw that in the Islands of Ice when we got the Kunming. Here we're going to be doing it to the Yamagiri, and you're even going to see another example, I think, of this in a later clip. So even though they're all smoked up, of course it's the CV spotting. We're going to use defensive AA here. We don't want to be going turning away from the Essex. We want to be staying bow into the Yamagiri torpedoes, as he's done a nice job just spamming them all out here. But we have defensive AA to help us out with the planes, in addition to having hydroacoustic search. So we get out of that tricky situation. We don't take too much damage there, ironically, despite all the plane spotting. And now we're just going to be pushing up and applying a lot of pressure. The enemy team has already been lost the other flank. They were mostly mid and then back here, the B to C. So we're going to start putting pressure. We don't want the Yoshino to get away, right? So he's only got the 1 turret on the back. Our IFHE salvos are doing the job and having a higher damage strike since we're pinning a lot of his armor to go ahead and get rid of him. So he goes away, and then we're going to be continuing to look around, see what's happening, get another heal off. Here we go bow in. We saw the Essex having planes come in. Carrier players like to use islands to come in over on and catch you off guard. So here we were aware of that, so that's why we just went bow in versus thinking we were safe just because we're back here behind the islands. Another thing is we're going to have a team radar. This isn't a selfish radar, it's a team radar I'm going to use on that enemy Minotaur who's in C-cap. We've got our friendly, I think it's the Yachty, that's up there on top of the C-cap. Minotaur is smoked up, so I want Minotaur to feel uncomfortable. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a radar and see if the Yachty, or maybe there's another teammate around who can assist him on that Minotaur. We get to utilize the islands here. The Schlieffen's pushing in, so we're going to start turning out. Schlieffen monster secondary boat. We're dumb if we stay within the secondary range, so we want to be aware. We switch to the armor piercing. I talked about this example in yesterday's video. It's just really good, especially light cruisers, so something like the Minotaur. I think we only get 11 shell hits here, but it's enough that we just end up killing the Minotaur with the 5 citadels. So definitely use AP, even on broadside battleships if they're close enough to you. You will do decent damage. Now here's the last battle clip highlights. I think there's 2 things I'll highlight here. Here again, we're just playing close to our friendly Smollett. The enemy Harugumo gets detected by the Hildebrand's planes, I believe it is. So we're going to go ahead and open up immediately, even though we're turning out here broadside, but it's actually kind of ironic because I think multiple of them had high explosive loaded, if I remember right. We use our defensive AA since I guess it's the enemy Hildebrand, I don't remember, is coming in on us. So we take down all 3 of his planes. And then between my radar, which I don't need right now, if the Harugumo does go dark within his smoke, The Smalland has a radar, and he was actually a really good player. The one battle I'm not showing you, the 5 I had yesterday, I'm saving for a different video. So he was doing a really good job on enemy team, and then we landed together on this match together as we're going to take out the Rugamo here. So we were able to contribute 7,000 there. We had a couple missed salvos, but I'm also like very conscious of when you're starting off, the cruisers do better. I would say, generally speaking, your life as a cruiser player gets easier the last half of the battle versus the first half, and that's just mainly due to having less enemy cruisers or battleships on the team as they die as the battle unfolds. Now, of course, there's complete matches that are lopsided, right? But your life as especially as a light cruiser, gets easier typically as the game goes on because there's just less enemy ships able to shoot you. So we're going to accelerate a little bit away. You can see we have quite a strong presence of our team here on the 6-9 line. So we're just going to back off a little bit. We have these 2 cruisers. I want to punish the Marseille. I don't know how to pronounce the name of that ship. So it is what it is. So I want to put some pressure on him. I see he starts to accelerate forward, so we're immediately going to start trying to lead him. Now he does have, I think he gets a 20% engine boost. So when he does get going, he does have to be led quite a lot. As you have him, you have the defense sitting back there as well. This island here to right in front of me is quite useful to use, especially for light cruisers. So part of the life of the Worcester is whether you're using smoke screens, you're using island cover, right? Knowing that, especially with maps, like, hey, if I'm playing this flank, then this island is really good for me to just go ahead and use if the situation for it is right. One of the things I do like about the Worcester is the fact that she does get 16.7 kilometer range starting off. I think it's quite hard, I talked about yesterday, to build the range mod in because the shell travel time is just so long. I mean, there's you're just going to see it takes, what, 13 seconds for our shells to travel from where we're at now to the Colombo, as we're just going to reverse into him at this point. So, you know, when you start talking about 14, 15, 16 seconds for your shell travel time, it's quite, especially on a moving target, quite difficult. Here, the Colombo's kind of just, he's feeding us because he's just kind of reversing and sitting still. He's not really moving much, so it makes our life really easy to focus him and set fires. Despite having IFHE, which has the fire chance right from 12 to 6%, and the 12% is kind of low, maybe among cruisers for the Worcester here, but it's your rate of fire, which kind of helps make up that difference here. You see other things to talk about in general here. You know, we have the 45,400 hit points. If we took Survivability Expert, we have 49,900. You can see the upgrade committer build video just put up yesterday, kind of talking about my reasoning there. I won't go into it in this video. But the Worcester really prides itself on being a very consumable heavy ship between your repair party, your hydroacoustic search, your radar, your defensive AA. You shouldn't be taking fighter or spotter plane in place of the radar. That's just kind of dumb in my opinion. But in the cruiser life, especially like Worcester, if you live towards the last half of the battle, like you're going to see here, you know, you can really start expending those hit points. So that's what I've decided to do here. Our team is about to secure the alpha cap as well. So I decided to just play aggressive here. It might cost me my ship, but I'm going to play aggressive. I want to farm more damage. I'm trying to improve some of my stats, even with the damage on the Worcester. So that's what we're going to have here. We were focusing their enemy. I think it was a Shimakaze here. This got a sub over here as well. The San Martin, we were firing at him a bit, but now we're just going to start opening up on the Montana. Now, to get all of our guns off like we are right now, we are showing a bit of angling. So with his 406mm guns, you know, it's very easy for him still. He could completely like death strike us like this, even though we're somewhat angled, right? So here's an example. We take a Citadel. He only won 2 Citadels would have killed us right there, but he only has 6 of his 12 guns available. So with what time we have left available, we're just going to just open up. We're going to give him all the guns. I'm expecting him to kill me on this next salvo if he gets it off in time. You can see the San Martin's focusing me as well as we pick up the Confederates. I think I got 2 Confederates out of the games that I had. And then we're going to go down here as he does get the kill on us. That was 1.1 million potential damage all said and done. So yeah, so this is just kind of giving you more of Worcester in this day and age of 2024. The biggest thing the ship suffers from now in World of Warships since she was first introduced into the game, in my opinion, is the overmatch. As I said yesterday, she's mostly covered in 25 to the 27, was there some 27 than the 30? But for the 25 millimeter armor scheme as example, it's overmatched by anything greater than 357 millimeter. And you have a lot of 380s, you have 406s, you have the 420, you have the 431, you have 457s, you have 460s, you have 510s. Especially a lot of this naturally at the high tiers of 8, 9, 10, and super ships. So she really suffers from the overmatch, so you have to play her wisely. And be mindful if there's submarines or CVs spotting you as well, because that can definitely take a massive toll on your ability to influence the battle here in World of Warships. I still quite like playing the ship, but it requires a higher skill floor of playing than what the ship I think probably used to do, because of all the overmatch and just how the game has been evolving over the years. But among the AA cruisers at tier 10, I think she has the third strongest AA, if I showed that in the upgrade commander build video yesterday. So all in all, she's quite fun to have. The concealed build is what I recommend for most players to take. Because of all the overmatch, I don't think she'd be so great with running a lighthouse build, just because she's not as good as like maybe the Henri, Saint Louis, other ships that have access to the engine boost, because you know Worcester is quite slow. So that being said, I hope you liked today's battle highlight features and talking more about the ship and just playing it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you subscribe, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you to my Patreon supporters. Until next time, take care.